The ground crew. She would be based out of London again if she got the job. There would be a lot of applicants. Would always be a lot of applicants for a job like that. But she'd worked there before and she knew people, and hopefully that would be enough. It didn't really matter about the certificate. She would have to speak to Tom again. Eventually. Whenever flight tonight, no chance. The co-pilot was working his jaw, teeth grinding against the hum of the heating. Cecilia had never thought she would go back to the chaos and the London smog and the pillar-box red uniforms. Never thought that at 30 years old she would pack up her life, walk out on her husband, her almost 3-year-old son. Something stuck in her throat, choking her almost. She'd looked out of the window at the snow and tried not to think about that. She wondered if Tom knew that she'd left, if he'd found the closet door hanging open, all of her most prized belongings gone. She should have left a note. Should have done that, at least. Then the crew room phone rang and they all looked up. Oliver pushed himself to his feet, trudging as though through a snowdrift. Watching. Waiting. He hung up the phone, turning back. "We're on." She hadn't kissed her son goodbye. She should have kissed him goodbye. Then it was all hurry, hurry, hurry. She'd grabbed her bags, a quick slick of lipstick even though her fingers were shaking, pulling her skirt straight, then click, clack, click, out into the terminal. Passengers' heads bobbed up like meerkats, the whisper running through the terminal in a bow wave behind them. Cecilia raised her chin and looked straight ahead. Suddenly there was no time. It was a narrow window. There was more snow coming in. We go now, or we don't go. And Cecilia very much wanted to go. "Hello, hi, welcome, straight to the back, please." A pasted smile, gesturing with French-tipped nails along the line of the plane. She bit her lip as they shuffled their way in, buffeting one against the other with their thick anoraks, all clumsy in heavy gloves. "If you could move out of the aisle, please." Smiling. Smiling. "Let me help you with that." She moved alongside the Jude Law man with his Armani shirt, open at the collar, reaching up to angle the carry-on luggage into the overhead bin, not looking at the thin-lipped, flat-eyed woman who stood beside him. Then the doors were shut, and they were moving, and all eyes were on her as she pirouetted through the safety briefing, smiling, always smiling, trying not to smell the smoke rising from the bridges that she'd burnt behind her. They were taxiing, building pressure, pinning her to her seat. Cecilia turned her head, watching pinprick lights against the dark night sky, sighing. She'd straightened her hair 3 times today, teasing the fringe that curled from the damp of the snow, pulling at it with fingers that trembled ever so slightly, knowing that it would do no good, but doing it anyway because it was better than thinking. Anything was better than that. Then the lift, littered lights giving way to black sea, a turn, climbing, climbing. Cecilia leaned back in her seat, was staring off into space when her gaze was pulled by the sense of being stared at. The little girl was 3, 4 maybe. Chocolate streaked across the tip of her nose, solemn jaw moving up and down. She was twisted around in her chair watching the flight attendant. She was beautiful. Dark eyes, like Ben's. Cecilia looked away. They were climbing up through clouds. The plane shimmied, but she was looking at her reflection again, where the mascara had smudged. And now she was thinking about Ben's smell, his velvet skin, the way he slept with his mouth ever so slightly open, snoring a little boy snore. She felt sick. A murmur rippled through the cabin, washing up at her feet. And she glanced up, looking because she was waiting for something, anything, so that she didn't have to think about the little boy she'd left behind. The girl had turned around, curling into her mother as they leafed through the pages of a book. But there were others glancing back at her. Cecilia tugged her shirt straight. An attractive girl, maybe 20, maybe a little more, looked at her, over-large hoop earrings swinging,